In this video, we will take some time to talk about distracted driving. We will define distracted driving, learn about some of the different ways activities distract us from driving, look at some specific examples of distracted driving, identifying how they distract us, and then look at some of the statistics that show the effect that driving distracted has on all of us. So what is distracted driving? At the most basic level, it is the act of driving while engaging in another activity. That activity is one that distracts the driver away from their primary task, that of driving. The things that distract us from the task of driving can be divided into three different categories. The first of those categories is the items that visually distract us from driving. These are items that catch our eye as we're driving down the road. The second category is manual distractions. These are items that get our hands off the steering wheel while we are driving. And the third category is cognitive distractions. These are the mental distractions, or the things that we think about while driving. Distractions can occur in one of two locations. They can be inside the vehicle, or they can occur outside. If you look carefully, each of these images has multiple distractions for the drivers. Any number of items can be distractors. Here are some of the distractions that are located inside of the car. Trying to eat or drink something while driving, putting on makeup, brushing your hair, or any other grooming task, adjusting the controls in your car. That could be the temperature controls, the radio, turning on the windshield wipers, or some other controls. Reading, whether it's a book, a map, a phone screen, any of those, reading can be very distracting from the task of driving. Passengers in the car can be a distraction. The passengers could be friends, younger children, or even pets. Some people even drop items under their feet while driving. Depending on what was dropped and its size, this could not only be a distraction, but also a hazard. And cell phones are what most people think of when they hear the term distracted driving. The driver can be distracted by talking on the phone, dialing it, looking up a contact, texting, or with smartphones, any number of other tasks can also be done on the phone. However, it's probably best not to do these while driving. There are also distractions that are located outside of the car. Those include weather. Depending on the conditions, weather can be distracting. It could decrease visibility or cause an increased level of stress. There are other vehicles besides cars on the road. We may be distracted by some vehicles. Look at this motorcyclist. Does he look distracted by the horse-drawn carriage on the road next to him? Even things that are going on at the side of the road can be distracting, whether it is a friend at a cafe, someone holding a sign, a crash, or something else. Finally, there are other distractions that are not visible to others. Those could include being angry, sad, or other emotions that can distract the driver from the task at hand. Also, being tired can be distracting because it causes the driver to focus on staying awake instead of driving. Now, let's think back to those three categories of distractions and all of the examples of distracted driving that we just reviewed. Take a few seconds to see if you can decide where each distraction is located within this Venn diagram. What about eating or drinking? What about putting on the makeup or grooming? What about adjusting the controls? Reading? Dealing with passengers? Weather conditions? Roadside distractions? Dropping something? Fatigue or being tired? Other vehicles on the road? Emotions? Phone calls? Texting. As you can see, some items are multiple types of distractions. For example, phone calls and texting are visual distractions because you're looking at the phone. They're manual distractions because you're required to use your hands to dial the phone or to type the text message. And they're cognitive distractions because you are thinking about the conversation or thinking about what information to send in that text. Finally, let's end by looking at a few facts about distracted driving. Hopefully these will cause you to think before allowing yourself to get distracted while driving. In 2011, 3,331 people were killed in crashes involving a distracted driver, compared to 3,267 in 2010. An additional 387,000 people were injured in motor vehicle crashes involving a distracted driver in 2011, compared to 416,000 people injured in 2010. In thinking of this in terms of percentages, in 2011, 10% of all fatal crashes and 17% of all injury crashes involved a distracted driver. And finally, cell phone use is the distraction that leads to the longest time with eyes off the road. Cell phone use makes a driver 3 to 4 times as likely to crash. Thank you for watching this video about distracted driving.